Alrighty. YouTube up and running. Let's check to make sure everything's working. Checking the YouTube. Hello, Mr. YouTube. Are you working? Boop, boop, boo-da-doop. Boop, boop, boop-a-doop. Why is there no share button, YouTube? Okay. Oh man, I have to hear myself sing. That's the worst. Okay, there we go. I made that go away because that was bad. We're gonna get sharing on the old Discord. No, I don't want to switch to a new audio device. Stop! You kill me, Discord. There we go. Alright, share it on Discord. We're all good. We're good. We're good. We're good. So, I just had dinner and something called sheepdog, which is apparently very alcoholic. So that's fun. So that's my evening so far. Thank you, Foodland Farms, for delivering this greatness to me. We also have the taste of Thailand, Thai tea. Some taste of Samoa, Lima, which is also delicious. We have a fork. That's the wrong side. That's the right side. And we have some poi. Because Foodland sells poi in little cups and it's the best thing. Woo! Actually doing it at a Hawaii time. What is this craziness? Hello! So, I was like, I'm going to paint something green. And then I realized, let's set the other camera up. I'm running late because of dinner and alcohol. So we got to turn the other camera on. Whoopah. I said we got to turn the other camera on. Oh, come on, camera. I don't got... Okay, good. I was say, I ain't got the brain power, man. It's been a long fucking day. I ain't got nothing to be solving technical issues today, man. Don't do that to me. Whoopah. There we go. Our tiny turtle little alcohol opener. We'll throw him somewhere over here because he has done his job already. We've got our poi for later. But, as I was saying, I was like, man, I want to paint something green. And then I realized that I actually painted all my orcs white. So the green skins they're now wild boys. And they're all white. So we're going to paint some green skins. Who are actually like nutrient deficient vehicle obsessed psychos. So that's what we're going to do instead. Yeah. So we're going to do a couple of these. Maybe we'll work on the Decajet. Screw it, let's work on the Decajet first, because the Decajet's fun. So, we have the Decajet, which is amazing. I freaking love this thing. You get so many parts in this box. You can build like 15 billion different jets with this thing. Or you can build a combination of all of them, like I did. Because the rules, as long as you... Let me back up. As long as you don't want to build the Wazboom flight bomber, or whatever the hell it's called. As long as you don't want to build that, you can pretty much put any weapons you want on this thing, and it counts. So all the bombs are compatible at the same time. You can see how rough those coats are. And pretty much all the guns are compatible at the same time, except for these guns can also go back here. So it can be like a tail turret. But I liked the body turret a little bit better. I did magnetize that. So there's a magnet there. And then there's one deep in there. You can see I built the support bar in there with green stuff and glue and just a piece of runner. Because otherwise this sort of wobbles around a lot. But I did really like the idea of being able to turn it, just because that's the kind of dumb shit I do. So I enjoyed that. Let me move this stuff out of the way and we'll get painting the Dakajet and enjoying our taste of Samo. And some poi. Because hell yeah. It's a little runny poi, Foodland. What are you doing to me here? Oh, it should be thicker. Look at that. That ain't good. Alright, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Ain't doing bad, Foodland. Ain't doing bad. I take it back. Oh. Speaking of work shit, let's look at the Death Dread, because he's a cool guy. So I actually magnetized all these joints, but they weren't, when I magnetized them because I put the magnets on the inside there, when the magnet was then on the outside, it wasn't really strong enough to like super hold it in place. This works on the Imperial Knights. It's kind of like inside-outside magneting, as you can put a lot of magnets on them. So like these arms here, they're all the same kind of inside-outside magneting. Same thing with the waist, right? But there's a lot of magnets there. So it holds really well, right? The problem with doing that on this guy was the fact that because the arm joint is so shallow, I couldn't get a lot of magnets in there to make it really tight. So it was kind of wobbly and loose and like limp. Wasn't a big fan of it. So I decided to say screw it and glue the big arms on. However, let's get some more poi. Fucking good. Alright. However, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to want to run a forearm build just because I'm not into that look. Not a big thing. So I was like, alright, well, the two arms, he always has two claw arms or two, chainsaw arms. So if you pick two arms that have chainsaws and claws, you can just say they're whatever one, and it's still WYSIWYG. Right? But the thing that does change out if you don't want to put on the little, forearm bits are the guns. So I magnetized those. So these are 3 mil by 1 mil magnets. Come on, focus, thank you. These are 3 mil by 1 mil magnets, just glued in there. You can see this one's a little crooked because it's actually two balanced on top of each other just for a little bit extra strength. And then same thing here, down on the connector point. You could make this a bigger magnet, but for whatever reason, last night when I was doing it, I felt like I wanted to preserve the two tines there, the left and right side. I struggle with CSM special weapons and Havoc weapon options. Get the Start Collecting box. It's all monopose models. It's you don't have to worry about it then. It's nice. But if you do want to magnetize them, I don't have Havocs. So I don't have Havocs, but the trick to magnetizing the Terminators for CSM. So the Terminators on the sprue, they don't come with enough shoulder pads to magnetize at the shoulder. So you actually need to glue the shoulder and the shoulder pad on. And what you do is you actually just cut them at the wrist. So you do all your magnetizing there at the wrist. And it works really well. And for the bolters, come on. The way they work, they actually magnetize together really well. So you just chuck a magnet in each half and it's really, really good. So yeah, just cut them at the wrist and they're golden. That works for the heavy options too. You just have to make sure the arm is posed far enough out to work with the heavy option. So see, it's just a regular arm there that I chopped at the elbow / wrist. Same thing with the Power Fist there. So the fact that I painted them each to be like different legions does make swapping the weapons kind of hard. But me obsessively magnetizing things means that I still had to do that. Because that's what I do. Alright. So, back to what I said. So the Death Dread, let's get some more poi. And more taste of Samo. The Death Dread options, all the guns here are magnetized. And I made sure to pose this arm high enough up so that I can put any option there I want. So I haven't magnetized the other options yet, but for example, like, it would just go like that and fit down on there and be golden, just like that. So it's pretty sweet. All right. Opa. Opa. So yeah, that's my Orc Death Dread that I am magnetizing, and then he'll be sprayed and ready to rock for the Wah Boys. The other things that are done for the Wah Boys are the guys that we did on stream the other day, like that one knob. But also these killer cans. I know I said I actually do painting and not just talking about my models, but that's something I like to do because it's fun. And I like my models. I also like poi. It's good shit. Alright. Killer cans. Again, they're done in the overall goth theme just because it matches really well. One with the concept of Gazgul Thraka being a Morden Joe, which is my Gazgul's customized to be like. And two, it goes really well with the Warboys theme. So it's kind of like double reinforcing, and I like that. You know, it's pretty rad. I don't know why I'm doing that with my head, but I am. Let's have some Thai tea. If you're looking for this in Foodland, by the way, this is in the snacks aisle, which is weird, but doesn't matter. It's so good. Alright. So yeah. So they're done in the overall goth style as well. So you can see the same kind of two-tone thing that we're going to do on the plane in a minute. A couple other colors, like some grays in there, and some silliness with the pipes and stuff. So I posed these guys to be various like stages of silly poses. So like this one's like the super serious one, and this one's kind of like walking forward, you know. And this one's dancing, you know. He's just dancing with his rocket launcher, having a good time, being a little grot in a mech suit, you know. He's got his stripy tooth there. It's pretty rad. So I've got them done for the Wah Boys. Pretty much besides that, just a couple of knobs are done, and we got that Dakajet done. We're gonna work on the Dakajet some more tonight. I started blocking in the character colors for it. Let's see what that was. I don't know what that was. Thank you, new phone. I don't understand your alerts yet. Good. Alright. Where were we? I don't remember. Taste of Samo. This shit is genuinely fantastic. I love this stuff so much. Alright. Let's take our ring off, because we don't want to get paint on it. I'm going to start working on our Dakajet. So Dakajet's going to get a bunch of layers of weathering and stuff like that. You know, it's going to get like some Agrax Earthshade. It's going to get some watered down Rhinox hide. It's going to get some Typhus corrosion, maybe a little bit of rust. I haven't really been doing too much rust, because if you look at the screenshots and the video for Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road, which is what all the Wah Boys are based on, You don't actually see a ton of rust on the vehicles because they're kind of like obsessively maintained, right? Like the Wall Boys are referred to as the cult of the V8 because they're just like so fucking into their cars. They're like, yeah, it's good shit, you know. So like, so you don't really see like a lot of rust and like breakdown on like their vehicles. You see it on other vehicles that you see in the movie, like the porcupines and stuff. They're all rusty as hell, but you don't really see it on the Wall Boys. So I really haven't been doing too much rust stuff. Mostly just like dirt and like ground weathering, right? So they're all eventually going to be on red bases, like Mars, Earth kind of red, with some like, what is the word? Like junkyard bits in there, right? So I'm going to 3D print off some little gears and little plates and stuff and mix them into the bases. It should be pretty rad. It should break them up a little bit and still kind of have like this nice flatness to it. Because that's really how I want the work bases to be, right? Like the, you know, like the scenes in Mad Max, like it's pretty much just like flat, like salt wasteland, you know. And I kind of want that, but I don't want just that. I want it to be a little bit more sprucey than that. So I'm gonna mix some garbage in there with their bases. I am. And my Gazgul, who's up on my Instagram, already does that. So he's got a bunch of garbage mixed in there, some wires and, you know, some metal mesh and stuff, like some plates and stuff mixed into his base. So they're all going to get that as well. So it should also provide a nice contrast to the fact that these guys are really monotone. So they're they're like really shiny metals that are going to get weathered down, like with the other guys. But they're also like grays and blacks and whites, you know, and like a little bit of tan and stuff like that. But really not too many like crazy warm colors besides some of the metals. So, all right, so let's get some Samo. Let's get some poi. Oh my. Let me shut up and actually start painting. 20 minutes in and I'm actually going to get paint out of a bottle. Look at this shit. Alright. Here we go. Get the magnets out the way. Alright. No. Move, sons of bitches, move. Alright. I don't need you nippers. Get out of the way. Okay. So, I've been blocking in colors so you can see how rough a lot of them are. So we're going to go and we're going to try to clean some of those up. So let's start off with cleaning up some of the gray. Just because I think if I mess up on that, then I can do an overall batch like at the very end and clean up all of the black. And that'll sort of be like my last layer for cleanup. And if there's a little bit too much paint buildup or anything like that, I'm not really going to worry about it. Because these are like, you know, they're painted in a wasteland, they're orcs, you know, they're just kind of like they're obsessive about their vehicles, but like they don't really clean shit kind of thing. Oh, a little bit of paint buildup, we're not going to worry about it. Alright, really tiny little brush. Truth, I don't remember what the Goths get, to be completely honest. I've more just been painting this way as I want to use Gazgul, and if you use Gazgul, you have to have Goths. And because I'm sorry, I apologize. That sheepdog stuff has a lot of fucking alcohol in it. And also because it fits the Warboys theme, so. Because originally before this, my Kill Team orcs and some of my Kit Bash orcs, they're actually super brightly colored. But I, you know, after the death of the actor that played the Morning Joe, I really wanted to, I don't know, do something. Like, right, like, not like a memorial, but like, kind of a little bit something like that, you know, because I loved Fury Road. It's one of my favorite films. And a lot of it is just like the weirdness of the characters and the actors and stuff, and it was just phenomenally done. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. So, since he passed away last year during COVID, and I got an option to get a bunch of orc vehicles and stuff for really, really cheap, thanks to Black Friday, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a whole Boys army. I don't know. The time seemed to line up and everything just seemed to make sense to do it. So I've been cranking it out. It's not one of those things where I'm like super like this has to be my next project kind of thing. It's one of those things more where like, you know, I work on these because I really enjoy them, because they're fun, right? Like I'm not dying to get them to the tabletop or anything like that. They're more like, you know, I've had a crappy day today, or, you know, my anxiety's been through the fucking roof. I need to focus on something, you know, so I don't like, you know, get too obsessive or anything like that. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna work on these guys that I really like. You know, that's been the Boys, right? That's sort of what they've been for me, and what I enjoy doing about them. I apologize if I'm not making any sense. But I am doing my best, man. Doing my best. Right now, I'm just sort of trying to outline the lines, get them to be a little crisper. Some of the paint's going on a little thick here. That's okay. Really not worrying about that too much. Just trying to get the lines to be a little crisper. And wash will help us a lot. Wash will fill in a lot of the lines, and it'll tighten them up for us. But, you know, we don't want to rely on that. That's not something we want to do. Yes, Fury Road is amazing. So, you know, we don't want to rely on our wash doing our heavy lifting to clean our lines up. Like, we're going to be grateful when it does some of that work for us, but we're not going to be like, you know what, I'm going to do sloppy work because it's going to handle it, right? Because that's a crappy attitude, right? And it's also going to lead to not as good of a result. Like, I don't tend to do tons of blending and stuff like that, partly because I feel like a lot of it's lost on me. And you can see I screwed up there a little bit, right? And we're not going to worry about cleaning that up because we're just going to go over it when we do the black. And it's going to be okay. You know, a little bit of extra paint thickness isn't going to be a big deal here. This isn't crazy detail, and these are orcs that ride through the desert and want to get into Valhalla as shiny and chrome. You know, they've had a day, they've had a lovely day. They hope every day to not be mediocre. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. So you might have also noticed, looking at this model, that the areas aren't the same, right? Like, it's not symmetrical. Again, done on purpose, right? Like, the taste of Simbo. So good. Oh, I fucking love it. That's the best fucking beer. Alright. But yeah, areas aren't symmetrical. And clearly, completely done on purpose. As these are orcs. And because I think the non-symmetrical paint will work really well with them. So, or like, I think it helps carry some of the character. I mean, no one's out there like making a uniform for orcs, right? So like, orcs really shouldn't have like all the same pants colors and all the same jackets and all the same gun colors, and you know, there should be some variation in there just from the nature of them as a piece of lore. So I like to try to carry that through into the models as well. Alright. So just going around tidying up some of these. You can see there's some inconsistency in these because I just put the layers on really quick last night just to get some color, so I had an idea of how I wanted the color spread to go. So that's pretty cool, but it also means we're going to have to go back and we're going to have to hit this with a bigger brush and sort of stay away from the edges. And we'll do that, and it will give us a little bit better fill in, right? Because you can see some of the paint is thinner there than others. Like, you know, there's more black coming through here than there, kind of thing. So we want to avoid that. Well, we want it to be nice and consistent completely throughout. But we're not going to do that with this really tiny little brush, because that's no fun, right? That's what bigger brushes are for. Now, I'm not like some kind of brush god. I don't know a lot about paintbrushes. That's why I tend to buy really cheap ones, and why I don't really have any nice brushes. I always feel like I don't know how to take care of them, or, you know, really use them super effectively. So while I'm sort of learning that, because really I've only been painting models for a couple of years, but while I'm learning that, I don't mind just using cheap brushes. But yeah, I've only been painting models for a couple of years now. Actually, it'll be 2 years in September. I've been painting Warhammer models. I bought my first Warhammer kit, which was a box of Skaven clan rats, last June, May, June, something like that. Not last, the time before that. So once that comes around, I will officially be on my 2-year mark of painting Warhammer. Prior to that, I was primarily a Gunpla modeler. I painted Gunpla probably for 3 or 4 years before that, and then I did it as a teen as well. I won a bunch of local competitions for my Gunpla, and I also have an award from the Gundam Builders World Cup, given to me by the director for Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, for my model, the Astaroth Mishmash. In case anyone cares. Now you know. That is my legacy as a modeler. Before that, I built a fuck ton of Legos. I was really, really into Bionicle as like a teen. I had like 1 billion of them. And yeah, Legos are still great, but I prefer to paint and stuff. I really like to do lots of kit bashing and customizing and stuff like that. You know, like, that's really one of the big appeals to me of modeling. That's why one of my favorite things to do is actually Imperial Knights. And it's because they're such a huge, like, test bed for custom bits and pieces and colors, and, you know, they're a way to really push the envelope out there. That's why they're one of my favorite things to work on. Alright. So again, just tidying these lines up for these panels. Now I don't know what I'm not doing. Lost my train of thrack there. Go me. Alright, let's see what we pour left. Let's check. Alright, we got some left. This looks like the end of it, though. So fucking good. Boy, is the shit. Alright. Wash. There we go. Alright. That brush is still a little too wet. Come here. Don't want you swerving the lines on us. That's not what we needed. There we go. Okay. So, back to tightening up the lines on our Mr. Dakajet. So, we'll go through and we'll hit the bodies of these panels just to fill out their color in a little bit. But I want to get the lines tight first. Is that when we come in with the bigger brush, we don't have to go near the edges. You know, this is the same idea as when you paint a house. You do striping or lining, they call it. And basically you take a little brush and you go all the way around all the edges of the room, because then your roller or anything like that doesn't need to get near the edges, you know. And you have more control over a hand brush than you do a roller. So you tend to do any areas like that. You'll do around like panels and switches and light fixtures and stuff like that. And you'll go ahead and hit those with your hand brush, and then come back in with a roller and fill in all the body. So we're essentially doing the same thing here. We're just tightening up the edges, and then we'll hit the bigger sections of it with our bigger brush, and we don't need to come near the edges then. And anywhere we mess up, like right there where I just screwed up, that is going to get cleaned up when we do the very last layer, which is going to be black again. Black's going to cover better than any of the other colors, so that's pretty good to me. Sorry, kind of lost my train of thought again. But yeah, black's going to cover better than any other colors, so we want it to be our last layer. So it's the one that we're going to have to be the neatest with. But that's all good. I will say, I always try to be my neatest as I paint, but sometimes my eyes and my hands disagree with me, and they're like, "You gonna make a mess now," and I'm like, "Damn it, I'll have to clean that up later." But yeah, see, there are a lot of areas for these lines, because this jet is basically made out of like scrap metal all put together, and I chose to have, for example, the most complex tail on this model you can, partly because it reminded me of like a B-52 bomber, which is like a World War II era bomber jet. It's got this like big, like thick body to it, has all these like turrets and stuff all over it. The tail kind of reminded me of that. I don't know why, because it's more of like a pit something tail, pit fighter, pit Spitfire maybe. I don't know. It's more of like this like 70s fighter jet. Warthog. That's what it's called. It's called a Warthog. The double tail is more like that. So I don't know why it reminded me of a bomber, but it did. So probably use this as usually as a boom DACA something or another. Basically, like the light bomber option is probably what I'll usually run this as. So I kind of want it to reflect that a little bit in the design, or at least me to recognize it as such. I've got to get dinner going. I'll check back in a bit. Thanks for streaming, and don't stay too sober. I am trying not to, but I also have to go to work. I am also a big freaking lightweight. Because while I'm a big old fatty, man, I do not drink very often, I tell you that. I had like one glass of that whiskey I posted a photo of on Discord. Woo, man. Like, I legit had trouble getting up the fucking stairs. I'm actually kind of hoping my husband brings me some more. So he might be getting a text once I'm out of the Taste of Simul to be like, "Can I have some more whiskey, please?" Let's actually do that now. Sorry, I'm almost out of the Taste of Simul. Text is sent. Let's see if it finds its target. Ugh. All right. Okay. What panel was I painting? I don't remember. There's things that need to touch up on this one, though. So let's do that. But yeah, I honestly never drink. Just, not because anything against it, but because I don't know, just never in a situation to, you know. Usually me and my husband, we go to work and then we come home and we usually play video game for a little bit and then he kind of watches some YouTube and stuff and I go and paint models. It's usually our normal day. And it's not a bad existence, just I don't know, usually not any drinking in there, you know. So I am not king of the alcohol by any means. Alcohol king. King boozer. I don't know. Don't know why I was going with that. But yeah, just doing the lines on the gray. Trying to tighten it up. Our gray, we're kind of running out of gray / what's left is kind of drying up. So we will go ahead and we will probably use a different color next and hit some other areas. We can paint some patterning. That's always fun. Do you like doing checkerboard-ish patterns with these guys? The way to do those really is to use tape, and you can get them super tight and straight. But that's not my existence. So, and honestly, these are orcs, and they'd kind of just be painting that stuff really quick by hand. I don't see an orc having amazing perfect checkerboard patterning on their work. That seems weird to me. So I always kind of freehand it, and it's always a little rough, but I think that fits the model a little bit better than it being super amazingly God painted type kind of thing. Taste of symbol. Almost gone. Do you have transonic DP? My brain is trying really hard to process those words. I don't know what they mean. I'm sorry. Is that Big Mech custom job? Maybe? Maybe it's a Big Mech custom job for the orc plane? I don't know. I'm sorry. Tell me what you mean in the chat, and then I can answer your questions maybe. And that is the taste of Samoa, all gone. And that is my husband bringing me some wolf whiskey. Flush it. Oh, God, this shit tastes terrible. Fuck. Oh, why did I ask for more of this? It tastes so bad. Oh, it's like aliens tried to make whiskey that tasted like buttered popcorn. Oh, why did I ask for more of this? Jesus. I only bought it because I had a fucking animal in the bottle. Oh. Alright, we're good. It's smooth. Oh, fuck. Alright. I was going to paint another color, but fuck it. We're going to keep painting gray. I know, that's exciting, right? But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're painting gray. Alright, here we go. We got more gray to do. Oh, that stuff's nasty. Ah, fuck. It really does. It tastes like popcorn, but in liquor form. So it's called Sheepdog, and it's like a Screwball ripoff. So Screwball's like a really buttery like alcohol whiskey. I think it's got like a sheep on the bottle. It's really good, and it's like super smooth, and it like tastes like butter. It's delicious. This is called Sheepdog, and it is nasty, like so nasty, like oh my god. It really does. It tastes like one of those jelly beans that people tried to make buttered popcorn, like buttered popcorn jelly beans. That's what it tastes like. It's so bad. What paint am I using? Okay, so I'm using Army Painter paints. I do actually have a tendency to actually water them down in the bottles. So usually when I crack open a fresh one, I'll water it down on my palette here. So in this case, this is Army Painter Dungeon Gray. This actually has some water mixed in there. I actually watered it down in the bottle itself. You probably shouldn't do that, but I tend to do it. Have you seen Unemployed Wine Guy's YouTube channel for reviewing drinks? Screwball, and it was pretty funny. I have not. Screwball is good. Like, Screwball is genuinely really good. This stuff is not. It's called Sheepdog. It is fucking disgusting. I don't know why I asked for a second glass of it, but I'm also kind of happy I did. You can see the red. The red is happening. There's red in the face. So, yeah. But yeah, this is Army Painter with a little bit of water in the bottle. I do find that having a little bit of water in there also helps with mixing them. And so I don't actually have agitators in there, which is one of the things people normally do with Army Painter. They'll either put heavy beads, like from jewelry making, in there, or they'll put ball bearings in there, but they can technically rust. So if your paints are really, really old, they might rust on you. I tend to just water down in the bottle, and then it's not a big deal. I'm also not like crazy concerned with these being super, super, super like perfect consistency, because they are orcs. And because I am going to slather these like the guys I showed at the beginning, like the grot robots. I'm going to slather them in weathering, right? So they're going to get a couple different layers of washes. They're going to get a wash initially of Agrax Earthshade, and then they're going to get a wash of watered down Rhinox hide, which is going to give them kind of a grimy look. I don't have any AK Interactive Streaking Grime, so it's kind of what I'm trying to like get that same look of. I just haven't been able to find that on Island, unfortunately. Because it's the kind of look I'm going for. Just sort of like this nasty, sort of weathered, you know? But I really don't want to do too much rust. Because the vehicles for the Wah Boys don't really tend to have a lot of rust on them from what I've seen. You know, from the movie and the screenshots and such. Yeah, Army Painter is normally super thick, which is super good for some things, like if you're using it to dry brush. Steaks are just chaos. Yes. Very true. Yeah, like sometimes, you know, like if I was painting like Eldar or something like that, I would be way more concerned with having like perfectly thin, consistent layers. But since I'm not, I can sort of, you know, I can kind of like let that worry go and just let that be part of the paint job. You know what I mean? Let it be part of the character for the model. Similarly, you'll notice I don't have a paint grabber. And I do this even with my small hand models. I don't ever use a paint grabber for them. And I also prefer not to do subassembly. So that's probably like all of the like, you're a bad modeler flags right there. But these are actually all things that I picked up from Gunpla. Because initially I am a Gunpla painter. And they're all things that I picked up from Gunpla. And when you build Gunpla and you turn it over in your hand and stuff, you get sort of this really like feel for what the character is and what the model is and how it can move and like how it can pose and stuff and like how the accessories and all work, right? You get like this kind of like toy, like aesthetic, like tactile feel for what the model is. And I really like that. So it's something that I try to do even with 40K, even though it's harder, right? Like not using a paint handle and stuff, right? It means my work will probably not be as like perfectly crisp or whatever, but you know, getting to like, it's going to sound really, really freaking cheesy, but getting to connect with the model a little bit more, I think is worth that, right? Like I'm not here to do like a perfect, like picture perfect, pixel perfect job, right? I'm here to have fun painting. And I'm here to like get a really good feel for the model. So when I put it on the tabletop, you know, I'm like, yeah, look at him. You know, he looks so cool. I painted him. I know this model in and out. I've painted all his nooks and crannies, and you know, and he's sort of like the embodiment of this sort of like character for me. Because before I got into Gunpla, I actually was a pretty big action figure collector. One of the reasons I moved away from collecting action figures, I still have a few, but I don't have many, and I certainly don't buy them very often. But one of the reasons I moved away is that once you paint the model, or once you open the action figure, it's not really too much more to do with it. You know what I mean? Like as an adult, right? Like I'm not like setting all my dudes up and having them fight or anything, right? Like I'm not like, you know, like not enjoying those things like the way like a kid would, you know? But when you paint models, more wolf. I just want it on the tabletop and to look cool. Don't zoom in. Very true. Very true. Fuck. It's so nasty. It's not even like a strong thing. It's just like, ugh. It tastes so bad. Ah. Anyway. But yeah, I like to have a really good like feeling with the model, right? And it's kind of weird. I'm a big anxious mess, like all the time. One of the times when I'm not is actually when I'm painting. And it's one of those things where like, no matter what happened to me that day, right? No matter what I screwed up coding at work or whatever stupid thing I said or, you know, whatever like mistake I made, right? Like when I'm there painting that model, that doesn't matter anymore, right? All that matters is this line or this guy's boots or this bolter, right? Like I can just let all that other stuff go for a little while I sit there and I've got this model in my hands, you know? Like all that other stuff doesn't matter. You know, all that matters is painting this guy's gun, painting this creature's teeth, painting this thing's tail. You know, that's what matters to me at that moment. And it's really nice. And it lets me really sort of like relax, which is not something I normally do very often, right? Like, even when I'm playing video games and stuff, right? Like, 99% of the time, that's not relaxation for me. That's still my brain going 4 billion miles a minute. And, you know, thinking about, like, how I should do this and, you know, how other players are going to perceive this and stuff like that, right? Like, that's still not relaxation for me, whereas, like, this really is, Like, getting to be like, oh, okay, today I'm gonna paint, you know, a couple of layers on these 3 or 4 models, and I'm gonna feel good about that and about myself, and it's really nice. All right, so let's see what we got. We've got a little bit more gray still down there in the palette. I don't have a cool fancy wet palette or anything. I literally have a dollar store one. 100% the same. Chance for Zen in the day. No, 100% agree. Right? I feel like one of the biggest challenges that as adults in this day and age that we can do is let ourselves enjoy things. Right? I think it is so easy to become critical of the things we enjoy and the things around us that you don't enjoy anything, right? You just sort of become this negative, this sponge that sucks up the fun of everyone else, or is oh, that's stupid, or oh, why are you doing that? That's a waste of money, or I think it's very easy as an adult in this day and age to do that. And that's not what I want to do, right? That's not who I want to be, right? I want to be the cool dude that's yeah, rock on, man. I don't want to be the guy that's shitting on everyone else's stuff. Even if I don't like it, right? I've got a lot of friends that do what I would consider dumb shit. But I don't spend the time trying to drag them down, trying to be negative about it, even if I don't understand it or I don't care about it. You know what I mean? Or I think it's cringe or whatever, right? You do you, man, and I'm going to do me, and, we're going to be cool, and it's going to have a good time. And that's what I try to do all the time. Can't say I always succeed, but I at least try. Sometimes I see something, I'm just Jesus Christ, that's so fucking bad. But, not all the time, right? That's how I feel rating WoW. I like it, but I don't enjoy it in a relaxing sense. 100% agree. I was a former raider in WoW as well before I came out here to Hawaii. I had trouble finding people to raid with out here because of the time difference. We were mediocre on our server, first, second, third kind of server ranks every time. Wow, in Mists of Pandaria. My husband was a legit raider in vanilla. He was top 25 in the world or something, but fuck, that is nasty. Ugh. Oh, that's nasty. Jesus. Why did I ask her more? Ugh. It hit me again. Fuck. Alright. Yeah. But yeah, my husband was top, super up there. Really, really high rater. But yeah, I don't really find it relaxing either. Especially not in the current expansion either. I think there's a lot of... Oh, Thai tea. Get that flavor out my mouth. I love you. I love you, Thai tea. I feel like there's a lot of negativity around the game. And it makes it really hard, right? You always feel like you're not going fast enough. Or you always feel like... these are also thinned down in the pot, by the way. Because I found that if I don't thin them down in the pot, they dry out extremely quick. I know, right? I'll have to go downstairs and get myself another one of those Valima Taste of Samoas. But yeah, you can see how red the other one made my face. It's got a lot of alcohol in it. Jesus. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know. There's a lot of negativity around it and a lot of weird pressure you can put on yourself. And that's no good when it's supposed to be your relaxation time. You know what I mean? You don't want to put that pressure on yourself. It makes it kind of rough. We all every day we have to deal with pressures and stuff that we have to do and things that we have to accomplish, right? Like, you know, I've been in a work situation once when I was in game development where I had to learn 3 new languages I didn't know and build a prototype by the end of the day. Did I do it? Hell yeah, I did it. Was it one of the most stressful things I've ever done? Yes, it was. But you know what? You know, that's not the kind of environment I want to be in, right? Like I've been in that kind of stressful environments, and you know, I've excelled in them, right? Like I'm not like, you know, they're not like beating me or anything, but like, you know, I don't want to put myself in that environment for relaxation, right? Like when I relax, I don't want to be under that same kind of stress. I want to be sitting here thinking about this orc bomber flying across the battlefield, being like, whoa, as he does like stupid stunts, like drops his bombs and shit, right? That's what I want to be doing, you know? Like, I want to be thinking about like how this orc is having the time of his life as he flies around basically what is a giant gun and shoots stuff, right? Like, I don't want to be worrying about like, you know, did I pick the right covenant? Okay, I didn't, so that drops my DPS by 5%. Well, if I swap covenants, then, you know, I have this other ability in my rotation. Can I keep that rotation up and keep the and work with the new covenant? No, I don't know. All right, what about my soul mines? Let's see what they do. You know, like, I don't want that, you know? Like, I've done it, you know, and I've excelled at it, but I don't know. It's not what I want in my time off. In my quote-unquote relaxation time. So yeah, you shouldn't really ever paint out of those pots like I just did. Because if you leave them open for too often, especially if they're not watered down, the paint will drip into the back rim and then it'll make it really hard to close. Because I'm bad, I guess? I don't know. Stuff like that. I water it down. Like, for example, you can see how thin that is in there. Kind of paint out of the pot. But yeah, you probably really shouldn't do that. I have been moving away from GW paints because of the pots. I hate the GW pots, especially in Hawaii. Like if you forget to close one overnight, which I do sometimes, like that's a dead paint pot, right? And at about $4 a pop at a local store, that sucks, right? Like that's a rough tax, you know. Like that $4 can get you like, you know, couple of cheeseburgers at McDonald's, right? Like you don't want to be wasting it because you forgot your paint and it killed it overnight. You know, like it's basically impossible to forget to close the army painter paints. You know, like you open them, you put them on the pallet, you move on. Kind of forces you to close them. Not the same way with the GW stuff. I've lost quite a few paints because I forgot to close them and left them open overnight. Yeah, just trying to get some more code on here so we get a little bit better coverage, and then we'll move on. We'll paint some patterns. That sounds like fun, and probably a little more interesting to watch than me just doing base coats. I'll be honest. So we'll have a little discussion on where we want to do our patterns, and then we'll do our patterns. All right. So. Let me wash this brush. Now, let's talk about the color. Oh, let's see what we got. People talking in chat. I like that. That's good. That's nice. I made a wet palette and have shifted more to Vallejo and AP, especially for airbrushing. Agreed. So, I have an airbrush. Got a little messed up, and I'll be super honest. I've used it a bunch before for Gunpla, never for whatever these are, miniatures, that's the word. I used it a bunch for Gunpla. And it's great. I love it. It's I think it's from Infinity. My husband got it for me. It's a really nice airbrush, but if I'm super mega honest, it's a little bit too nice. So me being more junior with an airbrush, I have trouble using it because it's too fancy, right? Like, I don't know if when it screws up, it's me or the airbrush being improperly built, or like I don't know enough about it, and it has too many working options for me to really test it, right? And I'm constantly afraid of breaking it because it's kind of more of an expensive airbrush. So honestly, what I'll probably do this summer is I'm probably going to pick up like a really cheap, like $30 airbrush and beat the living hell out of it and use it to paint everything, just so I can learn it. Because that way, you know, if problems and stuff rise up, I'm not going to be really, really afraid like I am with the expensive airbrush of breaking it. Ugh. All right. So, let's talk about color distribution on this model. So, one of the main things, hold red face. One of the main things when you do any design stuff, you never want to have orphan colors. You always want it to be reflected somewhere else in the model, because it helps you like carry like a thought and an idea through, right? So, the fact that I've chosen to paint some of these areas different colors, like say this wing and then this panel and this panel, you know, one, they're mirrored, so they are different looking, but they are actually mirrored. So we're going to keep those moving throughout the model, right? And we're going to try to keep the same, about the same like amount. Thanks for the chat. I'm off to bed. 1 a.m. here. I fly back to the island in a few hours. Enjoy your flight. I don't envy you on the planes. That's no good. Man, sucks to... I don't like flying. But good luck on the plane. Good luck on the plane. Hi, you. This shit tastes so bad. Mm-hmm. Come back. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. You're the best. I love you. Might consider not going to work tomorrow. I have to go to work tomorrow. I have to program a fucking database I don't know how to do. Alright. What was I saying? I don't know. My husband's cool though. I like him. Cheers with the pea water that tastes like... Oh, even the smell is bad. Jesus. It's so bad. It's so bad. Why am I still drinking it? It's so bad. Jesus. Ugh. Alright, we're good. We're good. We got this, fam. We're good. Alright, where was I? I don't remember. What was I saying? No orphan colors. You don't ever want colors that don't have a buddy. Your colors have to have a buddy. It's just true if you're making anything with design. Your colors have to have a friend, right? Like, you can't paint this just red and then not have red anywhere else. One, it's going to draw the user's eye to it, right? And if it's a random fucking area, you don't want that, you know? Look at this Dagajet, right? Look at it. It's cool as shit. Fucking hell. This is cool as shit, right? But I want to concentrate the user into this area, into this core center body, right? One, I'm going to do that with the white skin and lighter tones on the armor on these guys, right? Everything around them's dark, and then they're structured around this light curve here. So if we put the gunner on, right, he's going to have white skin too, right? So this area here, the center mass, it's sort of this big V. And then these guys, they're going to be really bright and really stand out. That's what we want, right? We don't want to have like this guy all by himself, like back here. because that's where we're going to look, right? We're going to look back here at the brighter color, at the orphan color, at the color by itself. So we don't want to do that. We want to have consistency, and we want all our colors to have buddies. We want our colors to have friends. That's super important in any design work. All right, so let's look at the color breakdown, right? Because we want to have a difference in tones, like say the gray and the black, but we don't want it to be overwhelming, right? Like we don't want this whole wing from here forward to be gray and this one from here forward to be black. That's going to be weird, right? It's not going to look like panel work or anything like that, like how we want it. So we need to have some color break out, like say here, 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 and here, and here, right? We need to have some amount of similar consistency and total of colors. So we want the rough amount of... I need more alcohol. We're good. All right. We're good. We want the rough amount of the colors differences to be about the same, right? That's what we want. However, one of the things that we're going to do counter to that is we're going to do some patterning, right? And the patterning shouldn't be equal, because the patternings are there to add variety and spice as you look to the model, right? So when you look at the model, your eye should move through the different patterning areas, and it should take you around the center mass of the model. Okay? So, one of the areas we're going to pattern, because we want to keep this center mass, right? We're going to pattern some stuff in the middle. Specifically, we're going to pattern this panel here on the nose. One, it's a big flat panel, so we're not going to have any detail get in the way of the patterning. And two, that shit is really rough. And two, the pattern's going to help draw our eye to that center mass, right? To that area we want to see on the model. So if we look at the model, it's a couple other kind of big flat areas. I have hiccups now. There's a couple other areas which are big flat details, right? We've got this panel here, and we've got this panel here, right? Both of those could have some patterning on them, and they would provide nice contrast to each other as well. Problematically, though, they are going to draw your eye out to them. So we're going to start with the center one and see how that does before we move to the others. All right, so first off, let's touch up the black in those areas, in those wing areas that I just mentioned. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do the patterning here on the nose. Where is my matte black? This is heavy charcoal. This is fantastic, but this is not the color I used for the base coat. This is actually Abaddon black spray. This charcoal is not going to be that different from it, but I'm going to try to use matte black if I can find it. There we go. I know it was on the desk somewhere. Cheers. Just smelling it, man. Fuck. Oh, why does it taste like that? Sorry. We'll get back to painting in a minute. Maybe. Oh, it tastes so bad. Oh, there's Thai tea left. Oh. Fuck yes. Alright, good. Alright. we go. We got our matte black out. Now we're just going to tighten up these areas. I did say I was going to do this as the last thing. Normally I would do these patterns after all the base coats are on. But to be honest, I think it's probably a little more interesting to watch than watching me do tight lines and stuff like that. I think it's probably a little more boring. So I kind of want to do the more interesting thing for you guys. The problem is that I do generally need more higher brain functioning to paint patterns. So I'm probably going to fuck it up. But it's okay. Because we can always paint over it when I fuck it up. So that's what I do. I fuck things up. And this is why I can't listen to my inner narrator. Because he's a prick. Alright, here we go. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just tightening up these other lines. God, stop. Stop tightening lines. Damn it. Alright. We're doing patterning. Patterning on the nose cone. Okay. So, we want to do little lines. And again, we could do these perfect with some tape. But we don't want them to be perfect, right? These are wow boys. They aren't perfect. They're instruments of chaos, obsessed with machines. They're out there messing up the Imperium of man. On the road, and the ash, and the dust, and the whatever else. Well, now we're just going to paint in some of the squares of the lines. Right? Now again, these are not going to be perfect. And that's okay, right? Like, the subject matter that we're painting isn't perfect. Right? Like, the orc boy that painted these lines, he's not perfect. You know? And that's alright. So we're not going to worry when they're not, like, perfectly symmetrical. Because that just reinforces the character of what these orcs are. Okay? So as you can see, like, I did my lines, right? And now I'm just going back. And I'm doing one area after another. Right? Just painting one block after another. Just stepping up. You know, we can be like, okay, so this is going to be a 4-block area here. You can see. All right, I'm just going to try to tighten them up a little bit, because even though these guys aren't perfect, we do want them to not be poorly painted. You know, we still want them to be nicely done. You know, we want the line to go smooth across. There is actually a way to do these as smooth lines, where you basically paint a crisscross checkerboard a little easier. But it requires more concentration than I am capable of at the moment. So we're going to do this the dumb way, but as you can see, it's totally working, right? You can see we've got our checkerboard starting to evolve there, and it's gone from looking really, really jank to actually looking pretty nice, you know? Just going to make sure those lines are straight as my gay ass can get them. That's a lie. Gay people can paint straight things. Just, you know. Just saying. Alright. There we go. There's our checkerboard pattern on our nose cone. You know, pretty rad. We're going to go ahead and we're going to tighten up the edges here. It'll look a little nicer from the front if we do that. We're going to do the same thing here with the sides. And then I think we're going to take another swig of our horrible alcohol. I think this is like 70 proof. I am very happy I'm not driving anywhere tonight. That makes me happy. Also, when I'm done streaming, I'm going to drink a shit ton of water. Yeah, I'm going to have my husband bring me because I don't want to walk down the stairs. My husband's the fucking best, man. He's a cool dude. I wish he would play minis though. Like that would be really nice. But besides that, he's like the fucking best, man. He's a good guy. I like him. Oh. Save me, Thai tea, from whatever the fuck I drank just was. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alright. Alright. Alright, let's, since we got some more blackouts still, let's go ahead and let's tighten up some of those black edges. We said we were going to do this earlier, but we've got the blackout now, so not using it would be a waste. So we just want to tighten up some of the edges for the black. Okay? So lots of little similar work that we did earlier. I'm also going to try not to touch the nose cone, like I totally just stuck my finger right in it. We're going to try to not do that. God, it's times like this that I remember what a lightweight I am. But man, that's okay, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with being a cheap date, I don't think. Yeah, I'm a really fucking cheap date, though, Jesus. Alright, just tightening up some of the black here. Nice, clean lines throughout it. We are going to hit all the black areas with wash as well. Are we on camera there? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, no, totally off the camera. Shit. Sorry about that. Yeah, we are going to hit all the black areas with the wash. Just to help hit some of the lines, make some color variation as well, which is something we want, right? Like, it's not super important having a ton of color variation in black, but we do want some of it, because it will be more interesting visually to the user, right? Like our job isn't to make something perfect here, right? Like, our job is to make something interesting, and everything we code or everything we build or paint or anything like that, it's never going to be perfect, right? Like, that's just not what it is, right? Like, it's going to be a unique creation made by us. And that's all we really can ask for, Like, so you can see here, I totally screwed up tightening the edge up in black and gray. So I'm going to have to go back and do that again, because I just messed it up. Now, for a big model like this, when you're just not painting it on stream, a good way to do it is actually to pick a part of the model and walk through all the colors on that part. So for example, you'll be like, okay, I'm going to paint the left wing. And you're like, all right, I'm going to get all my colors needed for that left wing, and I'm going to crank that left wing out. That's what you do, right? Like, and it lets you have some level of success, because with big models like this, like if I realize that I'm missing some part of it, I won't realize that I'm missing it after I've painted like 15 other parts, for example. I'm just not going to do that. So looking at it like, kind of more of like in a process of painting everything, is a good thing to do. Alright. There we go. How long have we been painting for? Oh wow, almost an hour and a half. Okay, well, let's tighten up some of this black, and then we'll go ahead and I guess we'll call it there for our drinking paintwater, drinking Happy St. Paddy's Day stream. Yeah, let's get some more black out, and we'll finish up some more black, and then we'll go ahead and we'll call it. But yeah, I love these orc models, man. They're one of my favorite things to paint. I also fucking love these Tyranid models. I love the Tyranids. They're so cool. Their lore is so cool. They're just like these like mindless, like consuming, like devouring monsters. They're just, their thought process are so fucking inhuman. People cannot understand them. They have such a psychic pressure to their existence, and it's so alien that like people don't understand it, like even at a fundamental core level. I love that. I think that's such a cool, like, unknowable alien force kind of thing. But I'm really bad at painting them. And painting them causes me a fucking exponential amount of anxiety. Because I'm bad at it. And I can't shake painting the forms from my brain. Like, I want to paint each panel as a thing and stuff like that. And that's not how they work. They don't look good like that. But that's how my brain tries to teach them. And it's very troubling. I've had a lot to drink. Okay. Oh, Jesus. We're good, fam. We're good. We're going to keep painting. We've got more black to fill in. Anyway, I love the Tyranids. I bought a bunch of them to start an army with them. But they cause me nothing but insane anxiety. And I kind of low-key hate them and feel like they defeat me every time I try to paint them. And they make me feel like a loser. So, you know, there's that, right? But besides that, I love them. You know? Whereas, like, you can tell, like, just from the projects I've been doing lately, I've been a little rough. Like, I've been doing orcs, which are, like, one of my greatest project loves. Because I love painting them. I love how nice they are and stuff. And Death Guard, which, again, are the same. They're just... You know, they're pure candy to me, getting to paint them is, so. You can tell I've been a little rough, just from what I've been painting. I haven't really touched my Tyranids in a while. Painting the stuff that, like, you know, pure brings me joy, right? Sometimes we need to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, you know, and that's the Tyranids to me. They're so far outside of my comfort zone, and like what I have an easy time and a nice time painting. You know, like that's where the growth for me as a painter is, right? Is in pushing myself into those areas where I'm not super familiar, where I'm not super comfortable, where I can learn new shapes and new forms and develop new painting archetypes in my brain. You know, and that's how I become good painters, right? Like mastering that experience, you know, mastering that problem. You know, like I'm doing something at work right now that I'm really not familiar with, and I know someone I could be like, hey, person, do this thing, and they could probably do it in like 20 minutes, but then I wouldn't learn how to do it. You know, I wouldn't expand my skill set. You know, it's the same thing with the Tyranids, right? Like I'm in a situation where I have them because I love them and I think they're cool. You know, and I'm like, oh man, these things are so great. But you know, they're defeating me. You know, but you know, it's a challenge that I need to rise above. You know, and the idea of putting down all these big fucking monsters that are just there to fucking devour and like eat the living shit out of their enemies. Like that's fucking hot, right? Like that's the good shit right there. That's what I want, you know? But, you know, it's getting there. Getting there is hard for my brain. The way I process shapes, the way I process colors and stuff. Like, it's really hard to get there. But I'm trying my best, you know. And I'm gonna make them suck at something fucking awesome. I know it, right? Like this is one of my test models, right? Like I've done probably dozens and dozens of test models, and I really like how this looks. I think it looks super cool. But I don't think it's there 100%. I think something's missing, and I can't place it. You know, and I'm trying. You know, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it every time I can. That's what I'm doing. But yeah. Behold the lamentations of an anxious painter. That's what I'm going to name my autobiography. That actually would be a fairly accurate name for my autobiography, actually. Yeah, see. Fuck. I screwed that up, see? Fuck. Oh well. Yeah. Well, we'll use up the rest of this black, and then we'll go ahead and call it. And I'll go, I don't know, play WoW or Valheim or something. Probably Valheim. I feel like planting some fucking carrots and killing some fucking goblins. Excuse me. But yeah, if you ever have the chance to have sheepdog, choose not to, because it's nasty. But it's also kind of good, so, you know, there's that, right? I mean, I had a lot of glasses of it tonight, and I'm happy I'm not driving, I'll put it that way. Alright. Alright, we'll call the Dakajet there. And we'll go downstairs and we'll play some Valheim and eat some fucking cookies. The swoosh ability of this thing is amazing. So good. It's so freaking cool. Right into the turret can turn. The only pisser is I think this thing is technically fast attack, which my other vehicles are as well. So, while I love this thing to absolute pieces, I actually don't know how much use it's going to get. It makes me kind of sad. Anyway, that was me tidying up the colors on my Dakajet and having way too much of very strong alcohol that tastes like disgusting buttered popcorn jelly beans. And I had some poi. That was good. And I had a Vailima, the taste of Samo, which was fantastic. You always want some mo. I know I'm stealing jokes from the fucking Polynesian cultural center. Jesus Christ. What is my life? Alright, I'm out. Thank you guys if you watched. I hope you enjoyed me and the taste of Samo. And my Dakajet and all the cool shit I showed off before that was actually sort of painted. Happy St. Patty's Day.